Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that saw my previous video, you know that this is pretty much for me to go over a lot of supernatural or unnatural occurrences that have been going on in my life for the past 10 years. I said 4, but it's been longer than that. The very first occurrence that happened was about 10 years, let's see, 10 years? Maybe it's a little bit over 8 years ago. So not that far back. 2010 is when it happened. I guess I'm getting confused because of 2010. But November of 2010 is when the very first occurrence happened. After that, I really can't say because I really wasn't paying attention to things. And I'm just going to be completely honest with you. You know, in the very first 4 years of my relationship, my wife and I, it was a bit tumultuous. We had a lot of issues. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but I'm just saying there was a lot of issues that I was having to deal with that I didn't want to. And it took my mind away from these kind of things. So I really didn't pay attention to a lot of the supernatural and other things that were happening. I'm sure it was going on. I'm sure she probably didn't tell me about a lot of it. Because like I said, she would pretty much, her the whole thing was, let me just ignore this and not even worry about it. Yeah, I'm a hand talker, sorry. In any event, one of the things is the very first thing happened in November 2015, and I really don't want to discuss that yet, even though I said I was going to try to go in chronological order, because that one kind of, when some of you hear it, you're going to be like, why in the hell did you not just get up and leave right then and there? And I'd rather save that for way later on down the road just because, yeah, I just want to wait. It was kind of stupid, but it is what it is. In any event, a lot of stuff that happened in those first 4 years, really, I have no clue. Like I said, I had other things on my mind. And then my wife and I got our stuff straight. Everything was good. Our relationship's been fantastic since then, and we haven't had any issues other than having to deal with all of this negative crap. I really don't know what the deal is, but in any event, a lot of the stuff that I thought I'd had written down on my notes was on my old phone, and I don't have those notes anymore, so it's hard for me to go back and give you specifically what happened because I tried putting as detailed as possible on each date, but I'll go back to one of the things that started immediately, like shortly after my wife and I, let's see, this was in 2014. My wife and I had a point where we basically were breaking everything off, and I was like, I'm done. I don't want this relationship to go any further. We took a break for like a day, and then basically we worked things out and everything's cool. But after that, shortly after that, we ended up spending the night at my mom's house down in Newport News, Virginia, and we lived up in Richmond. I was traveling for work down there, and one of the things that was going on is, I'd come down and work during the week, and then on the weekends I'd go back home to Richmond, or I would, at that point, I think I was still actually driving home every night, and it's like an hour and a half to work and an hour and a half back each day, and it was killing me as far as gas money goes. And that's the scary part if you really want to think about it. I was spending $600 or more on gas just driving, and in any event, we had went out to my mom's and to spend the night. She was at that point, I don't know where she was, but she was going out of town, I believe, if I can remember that far back. I have terrible memory sometimes. And but we went down there to spend the night. Took our Yorkie with us and Max, and we went and hung out. We decided to go out to eat dinner that night. It was a Friday night. I remember this vividly. It was a Friday night, and we went to Golden Corral. Don't judge. We went to Golden Corral. I haven't been there in forever and a day, and we said, all right, let's go to Golden Corral. And we went over to Golden Corral Friday, senior night, chicken wing night, steak night, whatever it was. I don't even remember, but the place was packed. I mean, there was a lot of folks in there. And, I'm like, hey, cool, let's get down. We went and the lady sat us down at the table, and it was one of those, they've got those long sidewalls, like going towards the exit, and they've got tables that are linked to the wall, and essentially they're like glued onto the wall with something, so they don't move. They're pretty sturdy. I mean, sometimes you get a wobbly one, but the one we were sitting at, it was stable. And I'm telling you this because you're going to hear what just happened. That night, we went in there, sat down, ordered a cup of coffee from the lady. There's a guy sitting right across from us. There's a lady and her daughter was sitting right behind my wife in a booth. And we were at like a little table with chairs that pull out. And like I said, the table was attached to the wall with glue and sturdy as rock. All right, the lady brings us our coffee about a couple minutes later, and we're just yakking, whatever, planning on getting ready to go up there and get our food and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, my wife's coffee cup, it's sitting in front of her on the table. And all of a sudden, it goes whoosh. It moves over to the side real fast. Like, I'm talking about maybe that far apart, about a foot. It went woof real fast to the left. And I was like, whoa. She jumped back. I jumped back. I said, did you see that? The dude that was sitting next to us looked over. He didn't see it. But then, like, right as I said that, and he looked over, and the people behind her were like, what's going on? The cup moved in a diagonal. I can't even say that word. I'm just get me all stirred up again. It moved diagonally towards her, like real slow. Not as fast as the first time, but real slow in a diagonal way. And then, I was like, what's going on? I was like, are we being punked? Is this a joke? And I'm sitting there shaking the table, and then all of a sudden it moves again in the other direction, slower this time. So it did like a Z, real fast, up, and then slow again. And this is how it was like, whoop, whoop, and then real slow in a Z. And, the guy next to me was like, what? The little girl had at that point come out after the second time, where I exclaimed, what's going on? We being punked. Do you see this? Do you see this? The little girl came out, looked at him, was like, whoa. And the cup started moving again. She saw it. The dude saw it, I was like, oh, okay, this is some sort of joke. What's going on? Y'all got magnets up under this thing? Somebody punking us? Is the guys going to come out with cameras or whatnot? I'm like, this is crazy. The dude got up and went and did something. Come to find out, the dude left. He was gone. Gone. I hadn't seen him again. He was gone. That stuff scared him. He was gone. And I was like, wow. The little girl was like, whoa, whatever. And I'm shaking the table. I'm like, okay, this is bull crap. I was like, let me see. And I'm like, the table is at a lean. No, it wasn't leaning. Got the little round salt and pepper shaker thing, sat it on there and moved it, and it didn't lean one way or the other. So it wasn't like that. And I'm like, well, how would it move one way and then do a diagonal and then go the other way? I'm like, it was in a Z shape. I'm like, this couldn't have been a wobbly table. Or, maybe if I was doing this and it was, shaking and whatever. It didn't happen. So you guys might as well put that out of your mind right now. That table was solid. It could hold my fat tail. That table was solid. But my wife was freaking out a little bit. We were just laughing about it. And I'm just like, wow, that was crazy. What's going on here? So in the middle of Golden Corral, 100 people in there, this thing happened. I was like, wow, what is going on? And so I said, whatever, I'm hungry. So I went ahead and ate. We ate, did our thing, and just went home. Now, we went back to my mom's house after that, and it was dark at that point, because we did go in the evening. And we have this little room, and there's a piano room. I call it piano room because it had a piano in it at the time, and a chair and whatnot. And then we have a living room where the television's at. My mom had it set up there. She had a love seat facing the television in one corner, and then right by the piano room, there was double doors, French doors, which I'll show you a picture of that in a minute. I'll show you the layout, basically. And you can't get through there. So it's blocked off because there's another love seat almost in front of it with a little stand and a light and lamp and whatnot. So we were in there watching TV. Max was with us, and all of a sudden, he jumps off we were reclining on the love seat watching television, and Max jumps off and starts growling. Now, this is a little Yorkie. They're friendly. They like to lick. They like to play. They love everybody. This dog is a spaz. He's an awesome little fella, but he was growling like a freaking Doberman or a pit bull. I mean, he was PO'd. And I was like, are you kidding me? What's going on? And he was bowed up. You see the cartoons where the cat is like, and it's got the hair sticking up in the back and the tail's up in the air. That's how he looked. I mean, he looked like a porcupine. His hair was standing up. He was growling and barking and growling into the other room. Now, I'm like, what is going on? Then I remembered what happened back at that restaurant, and I was like, oh boy, something's going on. So I'm like, looked up real slow, was like, try to peek up in there, and then didn't see nothing, thank God. And she looked over there, and we were like, what is going on? He's freaking out. It lasted for about maybe 25, 30 seconds, right around there. And then all of a sudden, he just kind of eased off and then jumped back up on the thing with us and sat there with us. And I was like, oh boy, what was going on? And we just looked at each other and we just like, okay, and I did at that point when he calmed down. And trust me, I'm not getting up when that dog's bowed up like that. And I wasn't going to go look and see what he was. I didn't want to see what he was seeing, and that's just the truth. I didn't want to see what he was seeing because I've seen enough of these movies and all this crazy stuff that I know that if I look into there and I see a pair of beady eyes or something else looking at me or a shadow or anything like that, I'd have been scared and I'd have been gone. I'd have probably knocked the wall down to getting out of the house. And my poor wife and dog wouldn't have been sitting in there. But, I'm not a coward. I'm just telling you the truth. The thing is, I didn't see nothing. So I was like, all right, we're good. And I was like, all right, well, it's fine. Let's not worry about it. So I got up, looked in there. Nothing in there. I thought maybe he heard a car go by. Maybe there was a squirrel or something outside. It was nighttime, but we got rabbits and squirrels and all kinds of stuff outside. So I figured maybe he saw something or heard something. They got those good ears and whatnot. But it wasn't like I'd never seen him do that before. I've never seen him bowed up. I've never seen him growl like that. I mean, it sounded like he wanted to kill something. And that just scared us. Yeah, we were like, what? Yeah, all right. But then at that point, things were kind of a little weird, and I'm like, well, you know what? We just need to go ahead and go to bed. And so we went upstairs to bed, laid down, and let's see. It was around about midnight, a little after midnight. I hear this noise. And now, mind you, we're right by a street. We're right by a street. Oh, Lord. All right. Well, I'm sorry. I've got to cut this short. I've got to go. I got somebody here that's picking me up, and I've got to leave. Guys, for that. I'll finish this on the next video. Thanks so much for joining me. But I really appreciate it, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Love you. Bye.